Hey y'all, I cannot believe it's October already, but that means cooler weather. It means that I can wear my pumpkin shirt and I can use my crock pot. I love using it all year, but there's something special about using it during the fall and the winter. It's just so cozy coming in when it's cold and having your dinner ready, and just the smell of it in your house just smells amazing. And I've got 3 easy and delicious recipes for you. One of them is a dessert. It takes 3 ingredients and only an hour and a half in your crock pot, so don't miss that one. And this collab is hosted by 2 of my favorite channels on YouTube. It's Sammy at Managin The Mays and Tamara from Southern Wife Everyday Life. I will have their channels linked down below in the description box, and I'll also have the playlist so you can watch all the videos in the collab and get some great crock pot recipes. And I'll also have my recipes linked down below in the description box. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're going to start with the Zuppa Tuscana soup. I'm using some mild sausage, and it does have a casing on it. So what I did was I just split the sausage, and the casing came off really easily. I'm using my old cast iron skillet. I need to get it looking a lot better than it does now, so I want to try and season it. So I'm going to put the sausage in the pan and cook that with a lot of oil in the pan, so the pan will get some loving and I can get that sausage browned. And I'm also going to add 1 onion chopped, and that will cook 5 minutes. I did add 2 tablespoons of flour to kind of thicken up the soup, but you don't have to. And then I'm going to add a couple teaspoons of garlic. You can cut your own, or I just use mine out of a jar. And I'm using 2 jars of my home canned chicken broth, but you can just use 32 ounces of whatever kind you have. I'm just getting all those brown bits out of the pan. And now I'm going to add some onion powder and garlic powder, just because I always have to, because I love me some garlic and onion powder. And also here you'll taste and see if you need any salt. It just depends on the saltiness of your broth. And I just put in some pepper as well. It didn't call for any other kind of spices besides the garlic. I've got 4 potatoes that I cut up. I about forgot how to say potato. 4 potatoes here, and this is all you have to do for the beginning of the soup. You just want to cook those potatoes. So I put a lid on there and cooked it for about 4 hours on high, and now it's ready for the other ingredients. I added some half and half. It did call for heavy cream, but I was just using what I had. And it calls for kale. I didn't have any kale, and I thought I had spinach, but I didn't have that. But the next time I will add either kale or spinach. But I was so impressed with this soup. Even though it's just got a couple of ingredients, it was delicious. And I don't know, I guess it was that sausage, but it was amazing. I will definitely make this again. And I had to bring out my pumpkin mug. And I also added some Parmesan cheese on the top, and this was just the most delicious soup. I cannot believe I have not had it, but it will be on my rotation from now on. And now I'm going to put a pork loin in there. You could either use the pork loin or you could cut it up into chops, either one, but I have just put some salt and pepper on there, and I'm going to brown it on all sides. I don't know about you, but I just don't like to throw the meat in there without browning it first. It just gives it a little extra flavor, and it doesn't take very long. So, and I'm just going to brown it on both sides, and that's all you do. The pork will cook in the crock pot without anything else. You don't need any water or any oil. Just put it in the pan and cook it for a couple of hours until it's almost done. Not all the way. You're going to cook it the rest of the way with this delicious sauce that we're going to put on it. And you're going to want to make this sauce because it's delicious. And it had a whole lot of broth left over, so save that and you can do some other things with that. But I'm going to make this sauce. All it has is ketchup, honey, brown sugar, and I will have the recipe linked down below in the description box. And this would be good on chicken or pork or just about anything, because this just made this dish. And it was kind of like an Asian sauce, but then kind of like a barbecue sauce. It was just delicious. So also I did put a slurry in there to kind of thicken it up just a little bit, but like I said, I will have the exact measurements down below in the description box. So I just poured that sauce over the pork, just put the lid on and cooked it another 30 minutes, and oh my goodness, this was so delicious. And this was a really quick one. You don't have to cook this but a couple of hours, and it was done, and we all fell in love with it. So I hope you try it, and I hope you try that sauce. And I made it with some rice and some green beans. And this next one, this recipe could not be any easier. It's 3 ingredients in the crock pot, and I'm just using this little small one, but I would definitely double this recipe because it is delicious. So all I'm going to do is cut up some apples. I've got 1 Granny Smith and I've got 1 Golden Delicious. I figure the Granny Smith is kind of tart and the Golden Delicious is more sweet, so I use those. The recipe said Honey Crisp, but you can use any kind of apple. And I'm using half of a box of cake mix. The recipe says to use a spice cake, but I'm just using what I had, which is a yellow cake. And I'm just going to spread it evenly over the apples. And then it's kind of like a dump cake, but they called it, I think, an apple dumpling. But you're just going to layer your butter over the top just like you would a dump cake. But I'm going to add one more ingredient. I love pecans, so I'm going to add that over the top. This was just delicious, y'all. You cannot get any easier than this, and it only cooks for an hour and a half. This one cooked a little bit longer because it was taller and it was not as wide as the other one was, but you are going to be amazed at how delicious this is. Y'all don't know how long this wait took. I am so excited. 2.5 hours and this is done. And I'm going to scoop out some, and I've got my ice cream ready to go, y'all. This is just fall in a bowl, I'm telling you. Top it with some ice cream, and this could not be any better. I hope y'all try it. Let me know if you do. I want to thank Tamara and Sammy for hosting. I will have their channels linked below, and I'll also have the playlist, and I'll also have these delicious recipes linked down there. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all in the next Crocktober.